So you're interested in frugal living, right? Okay, maybe you're thinking about it and just wanted to know what all the hype is about. Well, this is the video for you. I personally started my frugal living journey because I wanted to save money, and I can testify it has made an incredible difference to my life, to not only how I spend and save my money, but it has also changed my relationship with money because it has helped me to identify what is important to me, as well as teach me how to set rules on how I spend my money. And so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a few tips about how you can take that initial step into frugal living, how you can get started, and of course, how you can set yourself up for success. So the first and most important thing you will have to do is to adjust your mindset towards frugal living. And that is because a lot of people have this misconception that frugal living either means depriving yourself of everything that you could possibly want, or being a complete and extreme cheapskate.
Plastic container, and you'd be surprised at how quickly it heats up. I think people probably use their microwave every day, and that adds up to almost $40 a month.
And that is actually not true at all. And for others, frugal living seems like a lifestyle shift that is just unattainable because they have already developed money habits that they believe they will never be able to break away from. In both instances, it's important to remember that frugal living is actually a lifestyle habit that will help you develop healthy relationships with your money and help you make better financial decisions. And to fully implement this lifestyle shift, it could take a short time for some, but it may also take a really long time for others. It truly depends on who you are as an individual and how intentional you are about frugality. But the important thing to remember is that its principles will ultimately help you to make your money work for you, and definitely not the other way around. Before I first got started with frugal living and improving my knowledge on personal finance, I always thought it was about increasing your income before you change your spending habits. And what I found was that even when my salary increased, I still didn't have much money left over. And trust me, I chased that paper. But once I started learning more about intentional living and frugal living, I started to understand that it wasn't just about increasing my income. It was actually about taking control of the money that was coming in and using it more wisely. And I know it sounds like a super simple lesson to learn, but believe me, it can be a hard lesson to undo after many years of bad money habits. So my first lesson was to shift my focus from what was coming in and start working on what was going out. And that mindset shift has made a world of difference to not only my finances, but also my financial position. I know what money is coming in, and I'm fully in control of how it comes out. And that's just through some simple adjustments to some of my lifestyle choices. I still get to decide what I get to spend my money on, whether it be where I shop for my food, how often I shop, where I buy my kids' clothes, who supplies my gas and electricity, what phone contract I get. I mean, if I even get one, that's a whole other conversation. But you get the idea, right? Everything that comes out of my bank account is completely my choice, and I have the power and control to make improvements or not, regardless of how much I earn. So you can see your mindset has a big impact on how successful you will be with adopting a frugal lifestyle. Another thing to consider is how frugal living can help you reach some of your bigger life goals. It's the new year, happy new year. And a lot of us have set goals for ourselves with the types of things we would like to achieve throughout the year. I mean, you can check mine out. Some of my goals are wild and out of this world. But I've set them anyway. And if you're interested, I will link that video in the description box down below. And I know for myself, I really want to achieve some really big things this year. Like, I'm aiming to put a huge deposit to buy a house for me and my son. And to achieve that, I have to think about how I'm actually going to raise the funds for it. And obviously pay for it. So it's important that you think about what are some of the big life goals you'd like to achieve, and consider what role your finances are going to play in helping you achieve your goals, and of course what spending plan you will now need to put in place to make these goals attainable. It may be that you need to set some boundaries on some of the things you love spending your money on. It's important to be completely honest about what it is that you really need versus what it is that you really like and what it is that you want, but may actually not have any positive impact in helping you reach your financial goals. For example, I really do enjoy a bit of online browsing, which sometimes turns into online shopping, because I genuinely love the gratification of grabbing a bargain and of course receiving a package. But the reality is that there is a sum of money that I have spent on purchasing things that have been stored in my wardrobe, in my kitchen cupboards, currently under my bed. And if I had just set some boundaries around how I spent my money and the amount I could spend on these things, I could have used a large proportion of that money more wisely to help me pay off my debt faster, increase my house deposit faster, build an emergency fund, and even start that business that I had been putting off for a long time. I mean, I won't reveal the amount I've wasted because it's actually embarrassing. Or maybe I will if I get enough likes on this video. So please make sure to hit that like button, and of course share this video with someone who is really trying to make a positive impact on their finances. So as you can see, it's super important to set boundaries, because even though you might think you're spending a little bit here and a little bit there, or very little on something that you want today, it can quickly add up to an amount that you might end up, like myself, being embarrassed about. I can sit here and tell you just to make sure it's something that you actually need rather than want. But the true lesson will be in actually creating a spending habit that automatically helps you to shift your money away from such purchases and towards helping you reach your financial goal. Now, I will say this, and this is probably like a disclaimer, that frugality and frugal living is not a quick fix. It's definitely not a get rich quick scheme. But it's actually a lifestyle shift that challenges you to think about how you can develop good spending habits, whether you have little or whether you have much, and how that can impact your finances in the present and also in the future. Another good thing about frugal living that I have learned is that it challenges you to think about the opportunity cost of every sum of money you have to spend. And this comes back to shifting your mindset from just purchasing and spending to one where you question whether you need it or not.
Opportunity cost? What is that, Yvonne?
So, in economics, there's a term called opportunity cost, and it simply means the potential benefits that you miss out when you have to choose between two alternatives. So, for example, let's think about myself, but I think it's really important that you feel free to use an example that's personal to you when you are thinking about opportunity cost. So let's say I've been paying the minimum repayment on my credit card balance, and I just so happen to be doing some online browsing, and I see this new summer maxi dress from my favorite shop that is currently on sale because it's winter time. As I mentioned before, I do love me a bit of online shopping. Now, buying this dress will make me happy. It's pretty. I'm gonna look super cute in it. It's on sale and it's been reduced from £45 down from £135. A bargain, right? But the opportunity cost of buying that dress will be foregoing overpayment on my credit card, right? I could have used that £45 on actually paying off my credit card balance, and that would have bigger benefits for me than purchasing this dress, because in reality, that dress will sit in my wardrobe for 6 months until the weather changes, and I live in England. And even by the time summer comes around, I might forget about it and I might just not even ever wear it. Now, it's important that this is personal to you, because this has actually been a recurring thing for me for the last couple of years. So thinking about the opportunity cost when it comes to any spending has transformed the way I think about money and the role that it has for me in the present, as well as where I want it to be in the future. Just this simple theory has helped me actively make better financial decisions that will not only pay off now, but pay off in a year's time and in the future. Okay, now we understand the impact of frugal living can have on our mindset. There are also some benefits on the practical side of life that frugal living can help with making better financial decisions and improving our spending patterns. Remember, it's all about understanding that you are in complete and absolute control of how you use your money and how it comes out of your bank accounts. So you need to get familiar with exactly how much money is coming into your accounts, what it is that you are actually spending your money on, and exactly how much is being spent on said items. This is going to be your golden ratio, because the key thing is to make sure you are spending less than what is coming into your account. And this will require you to be a little bit more organized with your finances. It's not enough to just spend exactly what is coming in or just a little bit less than what is coming in. The challenge is to make sure that you are living well below your means. Hence the power of budgeting. Budgeting is such a practical yet very powerful tool that can ultimately change your finances. What I like to do is have a budgeting spreadsheet for an entire year available. And then I will just simply load my bank statements on my phone, because a lot of us have access to that on our phones. And I'll have a look at what it is I've spent my money on. Then once I have an understanding of what it is I'm spending my money on, I can start to think about where it is I can start to make cuts and reductions in my spend. Maybe you'll find that you're going to the supermarket 4 or 5 times a week and you're spending a lot of money on food, but you always feel like you have nothing at home, or you are wasting a lot of food. And so you could cut that down with meal planning and a shopping list, and then just go into the supermarket once a week. Or maybe you will come across a few subscriptions that you had totally forgotten about, and that you could cancel and use that money to pay off a debt that you have. I'm pretty sure, like me, you will be surprised by how much you actually spend on things that you have either one, forgotten about, or it may be that you just didn't realize you were spending that much money on said items. For me, I didn't realize I was spending that much money on coffee and takeaways. Whatever you discover, the practical process of writing it down will help you highlight where there are problems and start to encourage you to start making positive steps to improving your spending habits. Another important thing to note is to not feel bad about your current spending habits, especially when you discover where you've been wasting money. Because trust me, it's nothing to be ashamed of. We all do it and we all have our weaknesses. But what is important is that you are now aware and you are going to start making improvements and shifting your spending habits. And so now, if you haven't done so already, the next step is to match your financial goals with your spending habits. First and foremost, you're going to have a look at your financial goals, and then you're going to have a look at how you're spending your money and find the areas where you need to cut down your spending to help you reach your goals. So it's important to make sure that you have very specific goals that you want to attain. In my humble opinion, it's going to be a lot easier to make changes if you know that you are cutting something out or you are reducing your spending in one particular area so that you can gain something very specific. For example, it's really easy to say something vague like, I want to be better off financially this year, but it's actually a lot harder to attain because it's very vague. And in my experience, I found what's really helped me is it's a lot easier to stop spending money on takeaways, so reducing your amount of times you're buying takeaways from 5 down to 1, if you know it will bring you that bit closer to buying that BMW 1 Series. So if you remember my previous example where I did this exercise, I found that I was spending a lot of money on gadgets and clothes and not using them. So I decided to cut my spending on those items by 90%, still having 10% to spend. But I wanted to shift that money towards paying off one of my credit card debts and starting an emergency fund. So having these very specific goals really made it easier for me to make the changes I needed. And so for success, I would suggest you do the exact same thing and have some clear, defined financial goals you would like to achieve, and that will make it easier to cut down your spending. And of course, if you really want to make headway in changing your finances, you're going to have to be a little bit more ruthless and really shift your spending habits. Cut things down ruthlessly. But remember, this is completely personal to you, and you get to decide how fast you would like to implement this type of lifestyle. You might want to start off with one thing and then move on to cutting off more and more things. Then of course, I recommend that you repeat this process at least every quarter and look for areas to improve your spending habits and review how you're performing against your financial goals. This is a process that I personally have found to be very helpful in motivating me to remain disciplined, especially when I see a good bargain. I always remind myself of my financial goals and the huge impact it will not only have on my life, but my family's life as well. Let me know in the comments below whether you think you could implement a frugal lifestyle. Maybe you are a genius at frugality. Let me know in the comments below. Let me also know in the comments below if you think frugality is a thing of the past, because that is a theme that has come through quite a few times. As always, make sure you're always looking for ways to increase your income, because once you are living below your means and have adopted the frugal lifestyle, an increase in income will help you meet your financial goals that much quicker. And if you're looking for ideas on how you can make money, please feel free to check out my videos and how you can make money online as a secondary income in your pajamas, in your bed. Thank you so much for all your support. Please feel free to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And until the next video, take care. Bye. Mwah.